I'm naturopath Sulin Z, and welcome to my channel. I talk about women's health and hormones, particularly through midlife, and explore ways that herbal medicines, nutritional supplements, diet, and lifestyle can support you through this life phase. So if you're interested in all of those things, please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos and check out the ones that I've already recorded. So today we're talking about evidence-based herbs for perimenopause. This is a series, so there are more videos in this collection. Do check them out. The midlife period for women involves changes on many levels. We have functional changes, structural changes, chemical changes, and of course, hormonal. But as a naturopathic clinician for over 2 decades now, I have seen firsthand what a simple herbal protocol can do for women to alleviate key symptoms: hot flashes, night sweats, mood change, sleep disturbance. I've also taught in naturopathic degrees for over a decade, and I'm currently doing my doctorate in women's health research. So I do spend a lot of time reading and researching complementary medicine. So recently I've been looking at the evidence for perimenopausal herbs, and having looked at several randomized controlled trials, some evidence reviews, some systematic reviews, a couple of meta-analyses, all spanning the last 2 decades. These are the most evidence-based herbal medicines that I've found to help you to regain hormonal health in perimenopause. Let's begin with Black Cohosh. This is a herb that I use regularly in clinic to reduce the frequency and the severity, as well as the duration of night sweats and hot flashes. I also use it to support cognitive function, memory, and healthy bones. Black Cohosh hasn't always been just a perimenopause or a menopause herb. It's native to eastern United States and Canada. It was traditionally used for a variety of conditions, including coughs and colds, even endometrial pain and rheumatism and rheumatic pains. And these uses date back hundreds of years. Today, we focus a lot in research on Black Cohosh for vasomotor symptoms of menopause. So we're talking about things like hot flashes and night sweats. And as the science is evolving, we've come to see that herbs which have the ability to reduce or prevent classic symptoms of perimenopause don't necessarily just work on your hormones. In fact, this is a herb that's thought not to have any binding ability with estrogen hormone receptors. There's a 2015 paper by Woodker and Sedlova-Woodker, and I'm going to direct quote from this paper. CR refers to Black Cohosh. So Submissivuga racemosa extracts do not contain estrogenic compounds. They exert their efficacy through mechanisms linked to the presence of dopaminergic, noradrenergic, serotoninergic, and GABAergic acting substances. But no estrogenic activity can be expected. And they go on to talk about this prior false belief that Black Cohosh contains plant estrogens, and that's why it acts on estrogen. So for the past 20 or more years, the research on Black Cohosh has actually revealed that this plant has a powerful affinity with our neurochemical systems, and that's what lies behind this plant's so-called hormonal activity. Particularly, it interacts with serotonin. So I wonder, is this surprising? Well, maybe not, because apart from menopause hormone therapy, a lot of women have benefited from the use of a class of drugs known as SSRIs to alleviate anxiety, low mood, and depression in menopause. And these work on improving the serotonin levels in your body. Serotonin is a critical neurochemical in perimenopause, and it's not just serotonin that Black Cohosh works on, although the research so far is showing us that this one has a particular affinity with. So according to a 2024 review, Black Cohosh actually has dopaminergic, serotonergic, GABAergic actions, but no direct effects on hormone receptors, backing up the prior study. So does this mean then that Black Cohosh has no effect on your estrogen levels? Actually, it could be indirect. Some researchers have speculated that even though Black Cohosh doesn't appear to have estrogenic effects in the uterus or in the breast tissue, it still could have an estrogenic effect in the brain. So the drop in estrogen at menopause is one of the reasons for many of the cognitive symptoms women experience, like brain fog, forgetfulness, and difficulty concentrating. let's have a look at the evidence for and against an oestrogenic effect with Black Cohosh. In 2008, there was a review of Black Cohosh studies that showed whether Black Cohosh had shown oestrogenic effects compared to whether it hadn't. And it told us that more studies actually showed a lack of oestrogenic activity, implying that we needed to explore mechanisms beyond sex hormone activity to best understand how Black Cohosh is able to reduce hot flashes and other midlife symptoms. On serum hormone studies, 2 studies showed oestrogenic activity, while 3 didn't. For the studies that were focused on the binding activity to estrogen receptors in the uterus or in vaginal tissues, 3 studies showed oestrogenic activity, while 7 didn't. Furthermore, for the studies which were exploring the effect on in vitro cancer cell growth, 1 study found oestrogenic activity, but 7 studies actually detected an anti-estrogenic action, which would be beneficial if you're looking at estrogen-driven cancers. So could Black Cohosh then actually be protective against estrogen-driven conditions? It is possible. According to a systematic review, which is basically a super summary of 26 different trials and observational studies, which was published in 2014, the results are mixed, but they're promising. Some studies showed that Black Cohosh had no association with breast cancer, while 2 studies reported that Black Cohosh significantly reduced the risk of primary breast cancer in postmenopausal women, as well as the risk of recurrence. At least the authors proposed that the fears of Black Cohosh driving estrogen cancers because of some assumed estrogenic action are actually now outdated. In fact, it might even reduce the risk. And they stated, and I quote, "Current evidence does not support an association between Black Cohosh and increased risk of breast cancer." So as a naturopath, I do want to say that many of the herbs we use, or most of them, are really gentle and safe alternatives. So if you are looking for something like that, definitely explore herbal medicine and naturopathy. So while the earlier studies were proposing estrogenic activity might be the key to how Black Cohosh worked and might explain how it's able to reduce luteinizing hormone and prevent those hot flashes and night sweats, the more recent studies, such as Dowd et al. In 2024, and those that I've already suggested, are proposing that Black Cohosh really has more of a serotonergic effect than an estrogenic one. And this is considering its activating effect on the serotonin receptors. It also acts on dopamine receptors, so it increases the effects of those sorts of feel-good neurochemicals in your body. And this is supported by other studies, earlier ones, including Burdett in 2003 and Jarry. It's possible that Black Cohosh reduces hot flashes because of its effects on binding to a number of serotonin receptors. We know of 8 serotonin receptor subtypes that it particularly binds to. These include notably 5-HT7 and 5-HT1A, as well as another one, 5-HT1D. So the first 2 of those play a role in body temperature regulation. This is similar to how SSRI drugs can actually alleviate hot flashes as well. But Cohosh is also, as I mentioned before, active at dopamine receptors, potentially at opiate receptors, according to a 2006 study by Ryu et al. In other words, you can expect further research to be evolving to dive deeper into the mood and the psychological support that Black Cohosh could provide in midlife for anxiety, irritability, mood swings, low motivation, cognitive function, feeling flat, feeling low, not full of life and vigor. So another mechanism suggested for Black Cohosh, which is worth mentioning, is it has an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory effect. This has been seen in a study by Rulin et al. In 2008, where the authors state, and I quote, "We found that while the most prominent triterpene compound in Black Cohosh, 23-epi26-deoxyactin, deoxyactin is referring to Actaea racemosa, the name of the herb, suppresses cytokine-induced nitric oxide production in brain microglial cells, and the whole Black Cohosh extract actually enhance this pathway. So nitric oxide in high levels causes inflammation. Another 2024 study by Hidao et al. Showed that Black Cohosh also has beneficial effects in the mitochondria, your energy hub of the body. So Black Cohosh was able to reduce the number of cells that went through apoptosis, and it reduced swelling in the mitochondria. So in other words, you'll have more energy and less inflammation and oxidation with this herb. If you do want to try Black Cohosh, please see a naturopath or herbalist to make sure that it's right for you and it won't do any harm. Please avoid self-prescribing with this herb. And according to a review of the literature in 2006 by Kathy Dennehy, the Black Cohosh product Remifemin is the one that was used in most of the clinical trials. And this is important to know because you want to have a similar product to expect similar results. It contained a dose of 1 milligram of the active glycoside 27-deoxyate, and you took that twice daily. So bear in mind that the evidence is important, but you need to be looking at using a similar product in the studies. This is considered, by the way, the most active chemical in Black Cohosh, but plants are complex. There are phenolic acids like ferulic acid, fumarolic acid. There are flavonoids, which would help with the anti-inflammatory activity. There are volatile oils and tannins. Finally, what evidence goes against the use of Black Cohosh? Leach and Moore conducted a meta-analysis in 2012. They looked at 16 randomized controlled trials within which there was a group or body of over 2,000 perimenopausal or menopausal women collectively. They were looking at whether they should recommend the use of Black Cohosh for menopausal symptoms or not. The daily dose was a minimum of 40 milligrams for an average duration of 6 months, and they found the results inconclusive, mostly due to poor study design. However, several studies concluded that Black Cohosh actually is effective. For example, and consider also a year after the 2012 review was published, a comment article by Beer et al. Was released in 2013, and it suggested, and I quote, "The recent published Cochrane review on Black Cohosh neglects major evidence for beneficial effects. The author's negative conclusions are questionable and call for reply and clarification. Our careful reconsideration of all appropriate placebo-controlled clinical studies reveals a standardized mean difference of 0.385 in favor of Black Cohosh." They've got really good p-value there too. So overall, studies of Black Cohosh for the relief of hot flashes and night sweats tends to be positive, and to support its use at low to moderate, not high doses. This means that 20 milligrams of a standardized extract twice daily is going to be good in most cases for most women. It also has potential effects for your neurochemical status and your bone health, and it can improve your antioxidant levels while lowering inflammation. So who would benefit most from taking Black Cohosh? This is a herb that is proven to reduce symptoms for women with vasomotor menopausal symptoms, hot flashes and night sweats particularly, but also for any woman with general body aches and pains, for women who may be osteopenic or osteoporotic or suspect they might be losing bone mass. This can support you as well, along with, of course, calcium, vitamin D. While more research is needed to prove anxiety-reducing effects or mood-lifting effects and other mood-related symptoms, I have a feeling that that research is going to be evolving. And Black Cohosh can certainly help you to remember, learn, and focus. And the daily dose is 40 milligrams daily. I hope you enjoyed this video on Black Cohosh. Join me for the next one. We'll be looking at St. John's wort. And remember, this is a series, so there are other herbs that I've looked at in this series. And if you did like this content, please like and subscribe. I'll see you soon in the next video.